Hello, greetings to everyone. So glad you could be a part of our meeting today. We want to call our meeting to order. And let's begin with a word of prayer. Father, we thank you so much for your protection today over everyone. May everyone be safe and protected, whatever the weather might do this afternoon. And we thank you for health and strength for all of us to be a part of this meeting today. And we thank you in advance for your guidance and all that we do, that it'll be efficient and effective, and that the decisions we make will be right on track with what you would have us do. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Okay, Felicia, if you'll take care of the roll call for us, please.
Yes, Kelly Alves,
Here.
Janet Faber, Wanda Beckton,
Here.
Kenneth Coley,
Here.
Donna Countryman is excused, Michael Gleason,
Here.
Tammy Mathis,
Here.
Aisha Razak Ellis,
I'm here.
Donald Rue, Doug Seymour,
Here.
David Snodgrass,
Here.
Tyrone Starkey, Miss Pierpont may be running late if she's able to make it. Andrea Thomas,
Here.
Don Willis, and Councilmember Brandy Matthews.
Present.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. And I just noticed that it looks like on my screen that I'm showing up as Derek S. And that is my son. I don't know why. I guess he used Zoom last on this machine. But anyway. All right, we'll move right into some old business. And the first thing is, Felicia, do we have a quorum today?
We do.
Awesome. Then we can go ahead and receive a motion to approve our February minutes.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I suspected there wouldn't be a lot of discussion on that. All right, that motion is approved. And I understand that we have an update on Wingstop.
Yes, this will be the final update. So the business Wingstop will be doing some restructuring to their business, and a part of that restructuring will include a handicap accessible ramp as well as handicap parking signs. So this is great news, another milestone for the committee. I would like to again thank our planning department as well as inspection department in the past for helping us working out in the community. And so this is great news for the mayor's committee, and just thank you again to everyone involved.
Right, thank you for that update. Okay, any other old business? If not, we'll move right along into new business. And the first thing item on our agenda today is we have a special guest with us, and we're so glad that you could join us today for our meeting. And I'm sure I will murder your name, and I apologize in advance for that, but it's either Kira or Kiara Manley. And I think Councilwoman Matthews invited you to join us today. If you'd like to offer an introduction of our guest.
I would, thank you. You described her perfectly. Special she is. So our guest today is Kiara Manley. She is a 2019 graduate of North Carolina Wesleyan. She has her degree in psychology, and she is currently studying clinical mental health counseling at UNC Pembroke. She was born and raised in Goldsboro. She takes pride in serving her community, being an everyday advocate for cerebral palsy, and takes great pride in being the mother of her beautiful daughter, Naomi, who we will get to hear all about today. So without further ado, Kiara, you have the floor.
Good morning. I'm sorry about the background noise. I'm multitasking.
I'm currently getting my daughter from daycare right now, actually. But yes, my daughter Naomi Jordan is 5 and she has cerebral palsy. She was diagnosed. She is in a wheelchair. She is nonverbal, but she's very social. She does well, she used to attend Edgewood when it was like all one. And she currently still attends Edgewood, but at Meadow Lane. Some extra background is I actually worked at Edgewood prior to the school transition that I had. But a few concerns that I was speaking with Miss Matthews about is that there's no I'm sorry, could you hear me?
No, we didn't hear anything here after you said you had some concerns.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, so the concerns I have that there isn't any fun activities for kids that are in wheelchairs. I noticed we have a lot of sensory driven activities. As far as the last thing I know was Chuck E. Cheese had a sensory day, which was on Sunday, I believe, where they turned the music down and they turned the lights down, which is also well for Naomi because she does have some sensory problems, but there wasn't anything else she could really do because she isn't independent to play with those games. I do know that there is park. Sorry about that noise. There is a park that has a swing, but for her age, she is small, so the swing is too big. The swing is almost for like typical kids that just can't, do the backless swing. Um, Other than that, there's not much for wheelchair bound kids to do. And being that there is a whole school like Edgewood, I was just hoping to possibly get something that would include the wheelchair kids. If there's any questions, I'm open to answering them because I'm not sure what else I need to say. I'm sorry.
That's no problem, Kiera. This is Felicia. In the very beginning, when you first started sharing about your daughter, Naomi, it was a little muffled, so I didn't understand what you were saying. I know you said she's wheelchair bound. Did you share how old she is?
Yes, ma'am. She's 5 years old.
Okay, and did you say she attends Meadow Lane Elementary?
She attends Edgewood at Meadow Lane Elementary. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any other questions or
I have a
comments or
question.
feedback for Kiera? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kelly.
Does Meadow Lane have a like an accessible playground equipment there, or is that strictly at the Edgewood location?
That's strictly at the Edgewood location, from my understanding. When I went out a few times last year when we could visit, they just really had like a concrete slab that they played on. That was literally it. And my daughter, she loves to go outside, but the only thing that I can do with her is maybe walk the track. And I've seen some few different options of playground equipment, even if it's not a whole playground, but just maybe like accessible swing. And then they also have a swing where you can put the wheelchair in and you can swing with the full wheelchair. That would be something nice because that's what the normal kids can do. And being that we are one of the few cities that have this school that is catered to the severe and profound, I feel like that would be something that would be very helpful for parents, because we understand our kids are different, but we want some normal aspects, and playing outside shouldn't be so boring for them. And for those who want to see her, I don't know if my camera's showing. Say hello.
Hey, Naomi. Hey, beautiful. Look at her.
She is precious.
Thank you.
Look at that smile. Thank you for that.
Yes, ma'am. Say I love people.
So Kiara, you mentioned a park here that has a swing for wheelchairs, but it's too big. Which park is that?
Oh no, it's not a wheelchair swing. It's like a swing it has a harness. It looks like a little seat. That one is by Dillard or Carver Heights. It's like that park over there around that area.
Okay, Minuel Park.
But when I put her in it, it was big for like bigger kids. You know, it wasn't really, and it didn't really give any good support for those that can't support themselves. It was just like the harness the plastic hard harness that you pull down and it clinks in between your legs.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't have anything that was like actually to the skin. So, you know, she would have twisted. She would, came out from the sides.
Okay.
Ask the committee, does anyone know of a resource that we could reach out to that might have a program director that would have some experience with providing activities for kids in this situation?
I'm not sure if this is answering your question, but I know before the shutdown, there was an event at the Marbles Museum for special needs kids, and they had a lot of different resources there that was from Raleigh. So the only thing I can say is kind of point you to to look up something from Raleigh, because it was a whole ton of resources, but they couldn't serve me because I'm in Wayne County and they're Wake County. But they had a lot of like programs that I think would be helpful for us to probably try to look into as a county.
And along the same lines, this is David Snodgrass, along the same lines, could we not ask the city recreation department plus the public schools if we could connect with them somehow and maybe get form an ad hoc committee or whatever to take a look, do an assessment in terms of what the potential needs are at the different playgrounds, not only within the city, but also the public schools, to include, equipment to adapt to the special population.
I just wanted to say, this is Tammy Mathis. I totally agree with Mr. David. First of all, I just want to say, Ms. Kiara, thank you so much for being an advocate for your daughter. My daughter also went to Edgewood and she was diagnosed with cerebral palsy at a young age. And I understand where you are. She's 16 now, but I totally understand where you are. And I also felt the same way when she was that age. I just wanted to say, maybe if we decide to form a committee, that I could reach out possibly to the Autism Society of North Carolina advocates, and also try to figure out how they could assist us and maybe coming up with a plan so that we could address the need for recreational activities for our special needs population in our community. But thank you so much, Ms. Manley.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you, Tammy and David. Great ideas there. One thing that we did at Blended, and this is just a small step, but we had an activity that went over really well with our folks, and you have to remain seated. So it seems to me that it would work for those who are wheelchair bound, maybe not as young as Naomi is, but for the ones who are a little older. We played a version of volleyball with a beach ball and pool noodles. And you remain seated and you just swatted the ball with the noodles and try to knock the ball over to the opponent's side, and anybody can play it. And it just was a big hit. And that may be something that would be, an inexpensive thing to do, just a little bit of equipment there. And, maybe it would be something that could be done fairly quickly.
Along the same lines of what I was mentioning, I started out my career long before O'Berry Center, but one of the things that brought me to Goldsboro was a job at O'Berry Center in the social work department. O'Berry does not reach out into the community as they once did due to budget cuts and different philosophies at the state level, et cetera. However, I think that would also be another good resource that we could possibly look into for suggestions, and ideas on equipment, recreational type equipment, et cetera, for those parks, playground areas, what have you.
There's actually a foundation that my daughter was a part of that she did a video for. It was called Faces of Cerebral Palsy. If I can look into my email and I can get the exact name, but they are, like I said, they're I think it's like Cerebral Palsy Alliance of America or something, but I'll be sure to email it to Ms. Matthews. But I think that would be maybe a great resource because they have a lot of information and they're working towards getting more communication equipment for children that do not speak. Like my daughter is getting one in May, and it's basically where she uses her eyes to communicate. So she will eye gaze at hey, and then the computer, the it's like an iPad. It will say hey for her. So they do a lot of things. They are very knowledgeable about cerebral palsy. And I think that would be something that would be nice because I was trying to get them included into the walk that I was trying to get done before COVID.
I know not to change the subject, but I also know that O'Berry did participate in the Mayor's Walk years ago, prior to COVID as well.
Any other questions for Kiera or information that we can provide for her?
I would just like to say, Kiera, thank you so much for coming. And the committee and myself will work together to see what we can come up with as far as resources and the concerns that you have. I really like some of the suggestions and ideas, so we will make sure to follow up on those things.
Yes, indeed. And I second what Tammy said about your advocacy. That's a huge thing, and just your willingness to come and share and with us today. We really, really appreciate that.
Thank you, and I really appreciate the opportunity.
Okay. Well, let's see. Has Pierre joined us yet?
She has not. Renew Life they're in the final stages of transitioning to their new facility. So I spoke to her this morning and I agreed to give her a report if she hadn't made it at this point in the agenda.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and take care of that then.
Okay. And Kiera, feel free to disconnect. I know you were traveling when you first came on and started talking. So again, we appreciate you. You can feel free to just leave the meeting at this point unless you like to stay.
Okay, thank you. I have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Felicia.
Yes.
Can I say this before we move forward?
Yes, sir.
With Peer and Renew Life, I would love for somebody or maybe the agenda for next month to allow them time to transition, because I know that's going to be a monumental task from leaving their old facility to the new, but I would love to see their new facility at some point in time in the future.
That's great. I will certainly reach out to Ms. Peer after the meeting. That's a great idea.
Thank you.
Okay, so the Education Subcommittee has met again since the last regular meeting. And this group has committed to meeting the Tuesday before the regular committee meeting. So they did meet this past Tuesday. The subcommittee has established collaborating commitments with East Point, the Sunrise Kiwanis Civic Group, as well as the Optimist Club. And Pastor Doug will be speaking at the Sunrise Kiwanis Club. Pastor Doug, when is that meeting?
I actually spoke there this past Wednesday.
Okay, so
And
yesterday?
yes, and that was, yes, yesterday morning. And they are on go with us as far as having speakers come in to share about different areas of disability and bring more awareness and education to them.
Okay, great. And then also our final update for this subcommittee is that there will be a publication in the next City of Goldsboro citizen newsletter that goes out, and it will cover the months of April, May, and June. And so the committee will have an insert in that newsletter regarding April being Autism Awareness Month. Okay, so the Education Subcommittee has covered a lot of ground in the past month or two. So that's my report for the Education Subcommittee on behalf of Ms. Pierre Props.
Thank you so much, Felicia. And let's see, any questions about that before we move to our next item? Okay. All right, Wanda's with us today, and I think Wanda's going to share a report from the Disability Walk Subcommittee meeting.
Good afternoon, everybody. It was so nice to hear from Miss Manley and my population of age that I work with. I was so happy to hear that, and I understand her struggles because it's been something that we've addressed just in-house about public amenities for young children with disabilities. So maybe she's going to be the spark that lights that fire. I hope so. With the Mayor's Walk Subcommittee, it was short and sweet. We got right to the point. And we made the decision that we would move forward with the first Wednesday in May, as we always have, which would be May 5th, and just encourage programs, agencies, those who do and who serve individuals with disabilities to have like their own virtual walks at their facilities. I had made mention that, you know, we want to have our Head Start Center children to do their own walk at their sites and perhaps video that or take pictures and then submit those so that we could put them on the Facebook page and any other social media, you know, that we would have access to. We also talked about if programs did that we would have like a 2-week time frame to get those submissions in so that it would still be fresh and we could still get that information out to everyone. There was some discussion about t-shirts. I know in the past years with walks, t-shirts have been sold at the walk. I think, Felicia, correct me if I'm wrong, but you said there's a few that you all have from that were left over, but we talked about having maybe a designated color that folks could wear on the day of the walk, and possibly even formulating a design to have shirts made within your own programs. And that way there could be some uniformity when the walks are done. Other than that, that's pretty much where we left it. Any questions or comments?
I do like the shirt idea. I'm not sure about the costs involved and, we will have to investigate that. But I know, like for our kids that we work with, deaf kids and their siblings each year, we have a Bridges program that we always give them a T-shirt each year. And for those kids, it's just a huge thing. It just gives them a sense of accomplishment and belonging. And so I'm sure it might be for some of these other folks as well as they participate. So I really like that idea.
And along the lines of the T-shirt, I think that's a great idea too. And I can remember years ago on the mayor's committee, we actually sold some T-shirts. I still have mine and wear it proudly. It was kind of a Carolina blue and had the old logo of the handicap emblem. I think we could probably come up with something maybe a little more appropriate for the times. But again, as Doug was saying, I think a lot of people got a big charge out of that, and there was kind of a belongingness, if you will, in wearing that with pride.
And we did talk about, because there is a cost attached to purchasing T-shirts, we talked about it coming to the committee if we wanted to do that for committee members. And then programs could maybe do, I had made mention, for the Child Abuse Prevention Month next month, kind of that royal blue is the symbolic color for that. And so when we did our video here at Wages, we all just wore something in that color. And but if we wanted to do T-shirts specifically for committee members, then it would need to be brought before the committee because there is a cost attached to that.
Comments, questions about that?
So I just like to know from the group just kind of how everyone feels about just inviting agencies and others that would normally participate in the walk, and of course any others, just to still carry out some form of a walk in their neighborhoods, at their homes, as Ms. Wanda stated, at Wages would do a walk at their Head Start centers, and then submitting a short video in, or like she said, photos, so that we can compile it. We wouldn't be able to show it on the day of the walk, so what we'd like to do is encourage everyone to still engage on that May 5th date, which would be the day of the walk. And then we would give a 2-week deadline to have all of the submissions in, and then we would work on compiling one video.
That sounds pretty good, Felicia. That sounds good to me. This is Kenneth.
And then as far
Aisha, I really like that idea.
Okay, thank you. As far as the shirts, we discussed, since we know there's not enough time to produce shirts for this year's walk, maybe go ahead and working on a design, as Ms. Wanda stated, kind of finalizing a color. What would be a color that the committee would like that would represent the walk, and then start working from this year to next with actually selling a shirt. Andrea, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think you all covered everything.
Okay, we were talking about a certain color being used. Is that something we need to decide today, or maybe decide at our next meeting?
I would say, since we're looking at this for not necessarily this particular year, although if you wanted to decide a color so that folks who are engaged in the virtual walks could maybe wear a certain color.
Right.
But that's, you know, and I didn't clarify that the shirt design would actually be for the next year, which we hope will be the real thing.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Just a color. Folks could wear their own shirts, or we could maybe help them get some, but just something in the same color so that we're all kind of at least, some attempt at coordination.
That's a good idea.
This is Tammy, and I have a question. I was downtown, close to the Goldsboro Police Department, and I noticed that they have a big board there now. And if you put your phone up to it, it gives you a walking trail. I don't know how that board is operated and who operates it, but I was just thinking maybe we can advertise about the disability walk through some of the slides that they share there in reference to things that are happening in the city. I don't know how we would go about doing that, but I just thought that might be a good idea when we was talking about the wall.
Great idea.
Yeah, we had talked about reaching out to, and Felicia had actually sent us the sign-in sheet from the last walk that we actually had. We would get that information out to those particular agencies for sure. But I agree, announcing it, because anybody can participate in the walk. But getting that word out to our community, I mean, there may be other folks who within their own neighborhoods would want to form a walk or something of that nature. So yeah, whatever public announcement we could get out about that would be really cool.
And so we have in the past just kind of had a standard set of paperwork where we would send out and we would hand deliver to downtown merchants, just informing them of the walk, encouraging them, their support. We also would seek donations in the normal world for the event. And so we had donation letters as well. So we discussed in the subcommittee meeting that we can certainly draft up an invitation letter to send out to all the committee members after today's meeting that you all can share with your contacts, agencies and individuals that you know of who may be interested in participating. So I would like to include in that invitation a color scheme. So I think that was a great idea, Miss Wanda and Pastor Doug, if we could kind of decide, if you all can decide on a color today, and then I can include that in the invitation. I think this week would be, well, starting tomorrow, maybe Monday would be a good time to start getting the word out to allow people time to prepare. Especially if we're going to add a color for shirts, wear this color on May 5th, then that would give everyone time to find a shirt in that color.
Well, I will say, you know, like I mentioned, Prevent Child Abuse, Child Abuse Prevention Month, of course, is next month, and blue, kind of a royal blue is the color pretty much associated with that. And you'll see the pinwheels out for that. And also in April, well, no, we just had the Week of the Military Child. That was purple. So, you know, I'm
in autism awareness, this month is blue. Is that right, Kelly? So they're blue as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's right. That's right. So I don't know if there's any other colors that necessarily are more familiar with awarenesses or celebrations. So, but I just know that blue color seems to be prevalent for many things.
Let's go with blue.
What was that, Mr. David?
I say, let's go with blue.
You said green?
Blue.
Blue. stick with blue.
And you're saying royal blue?
Well, that's what is associated with prevent child abuse awareness. So I don't think we want to do that blue, because then it might, folks may associate it back with prevent child abuse awareness rather than, you know, the mayor's committee or awareness of persons with disabilities. So
What if we do a like a black and maybe a black and white and add a splash of blue?
if it would stand out, I mean, if we could design it so that it would stand out.
I just saw something online. I don't know if everybody be able to see it, but something about like that,
Oh, yeah, yeah. That's a light blue, yeah.
like a lighter blue.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the committee's logo, there's that blue. I know for the awards banquet last year, we kind of focused on the colors in that emblem in the logo, but there's gold and red. And then in the background, there's some blue.
Another thing we might want to consider for this year is availability of the colors, you know.
Right.
What shirts might people have on hand,
Mm-hmm.
you know, most readily.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I agree. I think it should be maybe a color that people would have on hand and wouldn't be hard for them to find.
Okay, so any suggestions? We've got one. We got Mr. David with blue. He's holding up his
That's my old
his
one.
old mayor's committee shirt.
There's been a yellow one too. I think I have a yellow one. Actually, I was just looking up, burgundy is the actual ribbon color for disability awareness. But I don't know how available burgundy would be, but that's the color that they are saying is a popular.
Red, since it's in the family.
Or bright yellow is another one.
Yellow or red.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about those, committee?
I'm sorry, Ms. Presser.
I was just asking, what do you think about those? Either red or yellow. Any preference there or thoughts?
Well, maybe since this is North Carolina and people are weird about their blues and reds around here. I'm from Tennessee, so I don't get that, but you know, maybe yellow is a nice, safe choice.
Go Vols.
We could do yellow with the blue insignia.
That'd be good. Yeah, yellow and blue.
Well, if we have yellow as a base color, but if we wanted to look like for the design for the t-shirt and for next year, you know, we could come back to that. But I think for the purpose of the walk, everybody kind of being in a similar color, regardless of what's on it, you know, that I think right now that's the key thing. So everybody who is in videos or photos, if they're all in yellow, it's going to be very uniform to show that this was in support of persons with disabilities and part of that Mayor's Walk event.
I'm good with yellow.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Anyone else? Kelly made the recommendation. We have 2 agreements. Tammy shook her head yes. So for this year, and again, I like the other suggestions. Tammy, I like the example you showed.
I That's nice.
Mr. Michael, those two colors together would be great. So that, I think those would be great ideas that the committee can start thinking on for next year, when we will launch a new T-shirt in with sales.
Felicia, the other thing that just hit me, and I forgot to mention this in our meeting. Do we want to come up with a theme that is uniformed as well?
We can. The past few years since I've been here, there's been a theme. I think it would be good for promotion. And we can certainly send an email out, Miss Wanda, kind of gathering some ideas, and then we can take a vote. We can do that work, that groundwork in email. We can do that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But I do think before March ends that, we should definitely finalize that invitation to include a color and a theme, and to start getting that sent out to everyone. Pastor Doug, that may be all for the walk subcommittee report.
Okay. All right. Is there any other new business? Any announcements that need to be made?
I have one quick question for Felicia. Since I got my second shot yesterday, I plan on getting out and about a lot more than what I have been doing. I plan on attending the meeting at City Hall. I know you said to go to where the reception area is. Is that where you go to pay your water bill, or is that up the steps of the old City Hall?
No, it is in the main entrance is now in the new annex where you would enter to pay your water bills. Yes.
Okay.
Sir.
And then she could direct me to the large conference room that y'all are at today.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that'll be my plans for April.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
Right. Anything else? All right. Well, we certainly appreciate everyone's time today. It's been an excellent meeting. Thank you guys for all that you do on a personal level and as the committee. And we will see you again next time. Stay safe this afternoon.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Everybody have a blessed day.
Thank you.